Good morning, everyone. I hope you can hear me clearly and tell me if audio is good. You can hear. Good morning, Ayush. Good morning, Priya. Who all are there? Write in the comment box. And we'll begin our class immediately. Sorry, I was late a little bit because I had to do something, and I also have to make coffee, and now we are well set up for the class. Anyway, first of all, good morning everyone. I hope all you had really good week, and today we'll be continue our class on previous year question papers. And in our previous class we have already covered like significant portion of PYQ for shift 1. If you haven't watched that, you just scroll there are links uh, in your Google Classroom. If you're not added, just after the class I will send you Google Classroom link where you can join and watch the previous classes. And we have already started working on shift 2, and today we will aim to complete at least 30 question if not more, but we will try to complete like 50 questions, but it depends on how uh, the questions are there and how many explanations are there. But as I said, before we dive into any questions, let's start with our class with a story like we did in our previous two classes. First we talked about Karthik, and then second we talked about Meera. And today we are going to talk about John and his story, how he cleared the exam. And this story is about a man who was determined to pass the exam, but he didn't know how to do it. Okay, so we'll start with a story, and a story about John. And John had always been passionate about literature, like everyone. And most of you are also passionate about literature. That's why you have the dream to qualify net. But like he was very passionate about literature, right? He had always dreamed of becoming a professor of English, like everyone dream of it. And he had been preparing for net exam for like last few years, but unfortunately he had not been able to pass the exam in his previous attempts. So like us, John had a habit of reading big bulky books on literature, and he spent most of his time reading them. However, he soon realized that he was not able to focus on the important topics that were needed for exam. He was constantly, getting bogged down by irrelevant and unimportant details. One day, while browsing online, John came across a website that had previous year question papers for the net exam. He immediately downloaded them and started solving them. To his surprise, he realized that most of the questions that appeared in the exam were from the previous year question papers. So John continued to solve the previous year question papers, and as he did so, he started to focus only on the important topics now and important concepts that were relevant to the exam. And he stopped wasting his time reading irrelevant material and started to concentrate on the topics that were essential for the exam. And that's what you should also do. Like John, we also had like same passion for reading so many things. But before reading so many contents, first let's get done with the net, and then we'll have so much time to read everything. So John, with his newfound focus and confidence, John appeared for the net exam once again, and he attempted the exam with full confidence and eventually passed it with flying colors. John was ecstatic that he had finally achieved his dream of becoming professor. If not professor, at least first step of becoming a professor. So from this experience, John learned that it is essential to focus on the important topics and concepts that are needed for the exam. And how he did it? By solving previous year question papers. And he was able to identify which topics were important and which were not. He realized that it was important to work smart rather than just work hard, and that by doing so he was able to achieve his dreams. So remember that, don't waste your time in reading so many new books, or there are like so many books available in the market, and also so many courses are there where people are wasting time. I don't know why. For they're starting from the beginning concept, Greco-Roman, to go to the modern. They waste whole 6 months, and they actually know about literature. They get what it is there, but they don't know what is important topic in the perspective of net exam. As we know, like in English literature, it is massive syllabus. And to your surprise, you know what? In the exam, they don't ask like so many things in detail and all. It's like same pattern they are following for the past 10 to 15 years. What they have changed is these days they are asking more about statements. They are asking about more about match the following. They are asking about chronological order. They used to ask before, but this time they have like set of question, that many question. In every exam they ask 10 at least chronological, 10 they ask from statements, assertion and reason, and they ask about also match the following, like 10 questions, maybe more sometime. So we have to focus on these topics, and to prepare it well, I have collected so many important match the following, assertion and reason. That's what I was working yesterday. I had the collection, but I needed to make it as mock test. So today, if not in the afternoon, but by tonight, you will be able to get these mock tests. And when you solve these mock tests, you will have enough confidence to solve this, because they also require so much time to solve. And we will have 2 hours in mock test, and in the mock test you will have 100 questions in each mock test on different types of questions. Like I said, match the following. Other are also there, like statements, and also there are questions related to chronological order. So these I have made like in one mock test there will be 100 questions of match the following. Another mock test there will be 100 questions on a statement. There will be another 100 question, another mock test there will be 100 what was it, chronological. So in that way you will have enough practice for that. So what John taught you, can you tell me in the comment box if you're there? What John taught you? Work smart rather than work hard. Right? So shall we continue our class now? Tell Adi, Ayush, Priya, whoever is there. So I will begin the class. Okay then, we'll start. Question number 50 that we have discussed in our previous class. We'll just go once again and we'll continue. Which of the following works have not been written by Thomas Carlyle? We know of Heroes and Hero Worship is by Thomas Carlyle, and also the French Revolution is also by Thomas Carlyle. So these two options will not be there. A and B is there, B. So it could only one option is there, C, D, and E. Of Human Bondage is by Somerset Maugham. Hudibras is by Samuel Butler, and The Hour and the Man is by Harriet Martineau. So explanation we have covered previously. You want me to go once again? I'll just tell you the name of the work and why. Of Heroes and Hero Worship is by Carlyle and divided into 6 lectures, and where he talks about different heroes. Some of them are from literature and some of them are political figure like Odeon, Shakespeare, and Napoleon. The French Revolution is again by Carlyle, and it is a detailed history of French Revolution, and it covers its cause, events, and aftermath. So remember that these are important. Carlyle is important for these works, and they ask about it. If they are not asking here, they might ask in the match the following, or maybe order of the work. So Of Human Bondage is by Somerset Maugham, and it was published in 1915. So remember this, Of Human Bondage is another important work that they keep asking in net. So that's how we find out which one is the important topics, and based on that you can read. So The Hour and the Man is actually a play by Harriet Martineau, and it tells the story about, not important, just remember the name of the book. Hudibras is again another important topic that you will find in every net exam. They are going to ask, if not here, they might ask in the option. So it is a mock heroic poem by Butler, Samuel Butler, and it is published in the 17th century. And Hudibras is actually a religious kind of poetry, and it mocks who? Puritans and their hypocrisy. And it has a titular character named Sir Hudibras. Got it? Now we will start our class properly. Now 51 questions. Which of the following works have not been authored by John Stuart Mill? So Mill is important because of the liberty we know. Past and Present again is by Carlyle, and Subjection of Women is another important work, and it always asks about it. So C, as we know, Past and Present is by Stuart Mill. Okay, something related to past and present is also there by Carlyle. Anyway, we'll just see. So for now, On Liberty, one we were certain about it that D is the option, and D was only here. So we'll just move to the answer. Explanation: Subjugation of Women, Thoughts on Parliamentary Reform. Actually, it was asking about, not written by Stuart Mill. Sorry for that. This confusion happens, and it might happens with you too. So not have been. So past and present is of course by Carlyle. Okay, so I was right, and the question that I didn't pay attention was not being authored by. Remember that, not being authored by. So On Liberty, who wrote On Liberty? We shall see. It is by John Stuart Mill, of course. So something is here. Option में थोड़ा सा I guess little bit incorrect is there. Subjugation of Women is by John Stuart Mill, and On Liberty is also John Stuart Mill, and Thought on Parliamentary Reform and Past and Present is by different author, and it is Mill. Okay, here are other works on on liberty, the subjection of women. Remember, these two works is by Stuart Mill, and in other explanation, past and present is by Thomas Carlyle. So this is our answer, not author. Little bit maybe it option would have been dropped, because if these all, this is by Stuart Mill, and exploration is by Stuart Mill, and on liberty is Stuart Mill. Only C and D is not by. C is past and present, and on exploration these two works are not by. Okay, so everything is correct. There is nothing wrong with the question. Maybe because I was reading, and these kind of confusing question they ask, and everybody can make mistake. So these three, subjugation, one was parliamentary reform, on liberty, A, B, E is by Stuart Mill, C is by Carlyle, and exploration is by, here is not there, I think. Okay, anyway, we'll just move to the question number 52. And 52 says, which of the following are true in the context of literary research? That you have to judge, and you have to tell me the answer. And answer is actually there, but we'll just hide it. Okay, so tell me what is the true in the context of literary research. So is it literary research is devoted to the enlightenment of criticism, or it seeks to illuminate the work of art as it really is? It has no connection with the proffered information, and it tries to see the writer as he really was. Tell me which one is the correct. So A is true because it is devoted to the enlightenment of criticism. B is also illuminate the work of art as it is. And D, C is not there. No connection with the information. There will be connection with the information. And D, it tries to see the writer as he really was. Exactly. When we do literary research, it is important to present everything as it is. And we try to explore these truth in different perspective. But our aim should be try to prove. And the explanation is the same. And like it says, no, it has one. Why? It has no connection with the proffered information, and for that we have explanation why it is unclear and could have multiple interpretation. So it is difficult to say whether it is true or false. Other explanation about literary research we have in deep, and that we will discuss. So remember, the first goal of literary research is to gain better understanding of the work itself, okay, as well as the author and the cultural, social, and historical influence that shaped the author's work. So that's why literary research is important. Anyway, by seeking to illuminate the work of art as it really is, for this option we have a supporting explanation, which says literary research aims to uncover the true meaning and value of the literary work rather than just surface level interpretation. Similarly, again we have that to see the writers as he really was. In literary research, we uncover the author's unique perspective, experience, and motivation that informed their work. Finally, another option which was there, literary research is devoted to enlightenment of criticism. That was our A option, and as it seeks to provide new insight and perspective on literary works that can inform and enrich critical analysis. As I said before, that in literary research they ask a question about that in research. In our paper 2, at least 2 to 3 questions you will find. We have already came across in this shift to 3 questions already in literary research. Also in previous shift 1, there were a question related to literary research. 53 question is there. Which among the following are false in the context of autobiographical research? So again, they ask now 4 questions based on research. So autobiographical research is what? Autographical. So these can be accepted on face value. There are usually idealized. These are colored by the compelling motive of the desire for self justification. These are embroidered through the sheer exuberance of the artistic imagination. The answer is A is not, can be accepted on face value, cannot be. B, these are usually idealized, and C is also correct, and D is also correct. We have explanation. Autographical research refers to the study of a writer's life through his or her own autobiographical writings. However, it is important to approach such work with a critical eye, as they can be biased, self-serving, because when there is autographical research, when we talk about, in autobiographical writing, authors can be right, can be wrong, right? So in autographical, we have to study in different perspective his or her own autobiographical writing, and works with a critical eye. So this is question number 53. 54 is there, and it asks, which of the following are the key attribute and skills required in the context of tools and technique? Again, now we have 5 questions based on literary research. So these kind of question ask, and what happens, we waste time in reading other things. So if 5 is there, just let me tell you a couple of things. If they are asking 6 questions from research, 3 to 4, 5 questions from linguistic, and we have 10 questions from literary analysis, tell me how many questions? Almost 30 question is different field, right? Not from literature itself. And I tell you, 30 question you get from cultural studies and criticism. So like 60 questions you have already. This is completely different. And why people waste time in from the beginning to the end reading about their literature, and they ask only how many questions? 30 to 35. For that you waste whole 6-7 months, and you don't pay attention in the other part of the literature and other part of the exam. So remember that that's why we are going to do important classes. In PYQ will cover explanation. There will be one class based on literary criticism and culture and all theory. Everything is there in that class, because you will get 30 questions from that. And 10 question to how to interpret literary, how to analyze these comprehension they give, right? Sometimes they give poem, and how to critically analyze that, and for that we have a complete explanation that we always do at the end of the uh, each shift. So today, if possible, if we move to the like, if we will be able to complete 50 questions in 1 hour, then you will find how we do it. But anyway, let's begin with, again it is asking about the key attribute and skills. So what skills are required to in the context of the tools and technique for literary research? Tell me first, then you see the option. Suppose you're doing a research, which technique you will use? Sometime we we do comparative, right? Comparative research, we compare two literature. Sometime what we do, we apply theory, right? So these are all the tools that are important to do literary research. So in that option you will find something like that. So option A says having an overview of the main online and printed sources relevant to the research. Of course, when we do literary research, we need an overview of the main online and printed, both resources relevant to the research. So that option seems very close, right? So we can just keep it here. Okay, this could be right, or this is right. So we'll just, okay, A should be there. Again, not participating in any online information network as others may copy the work. So do you think, like, not participating in any online info, that is little bit biased, right? It is may copy the other work. Of course they can copy the work, but why not participating? Because we'll no, so we'll just keep it aside. It could not be. Getting to know a range of available online sources, and being able to evaluate these sources comparatively. That is very important, right? Because we have to go online to do the research. So this could be right. So A and C in our list is strongly that could be our tool. Using online and printed sources to identify and locate material archive. That is very important, right? Because we have to prove that this particular work that we have taken, the source is actually from authorized peer management technique. So answer says A, C, as we say, is it correct, and also D. So peer management is different. So we found the answer through that. Got me? That's how you're going to judge the question. That's how you're going to eliminate the option. So again, 5 to 6 questions already asked from literary research, and we have these all explanation that I told you while we were selecting the option. It is essential to have an overview of the main online and printed sources. Again, there was one question, right? Not participating in online information network and peer management technique are not the key attribute skills required in the context of tools and technique for literary research. So some key attribute that I have sorted out here is you should have strong critical thinking and analytical skills to analyze literary works, text, and sources. Proficiency in using online database, search engine, and other research tools find and evaluate sources. Again, we have to know research methodology and technique, and we have ability to synthesize information, create new insight, and from research finding. Effective communication skills should present in research finding in clear and concise manner. Time management and organization skills effectively manage research project and meet deadlines. So this is all the important tools in literary research. So this kind of explanation will have every perspective of the particular question, and that's gonna help you so much in the exam. I just want to ask, like, two people are there, and of course Ayush will be there and Priya will be there. So tell me, did you before tell me anyone of you previously attempted net exam? Tell me yes. This is one question. The uh, second question is, did you solve previous year question before attempting the exam, or you were just wasting time in reading things? So these discussion will be on in our group today. I'll just write it. Um, okay, so this will be our discussion today after the class, and everybody has to step up and say. Got it? Okay, let's move on to question number 55. Which among the following are written by Mikhail Bakhtin? Tell me, Bakhtin, we know, is one of the important theorists in our literary theory and criticism. Remember that Mikhail Bakhtin is important, and you have to tell me which one of these are work by is by Mikhail Bakhtin. Okay, Priya, you can we can discuss this. True, it can be. I mean, many of people are wasting time, no, doing other things, and they don't know what is important. Things which can be asked in the exam. So here we'll just find this, and the discussion will be on in a WhatsApp group. So be there. Everybody has to step up and say a couple of things, right? Anyway, which among the following are written by Mikhail Bakhtin? Tell me, is it white mythology, and again Freudianism, a Marxist critic, the ideology of aesthetics, and Rabelais and his world, and morphology of the folk tale? So remember, about this theorist and critic, we have to know every work he has written, and it's very important because in every net exam you are going to get questions from Bakhtin, Sigmund Freud, Michel Foucault. Of course, you're going to get two questions from that. And Gramsci is there, Raymond Williams is there, Paul Gilroy is there, one author, Stuart Hall is there. You're going to get questions from Center for Cultural Studies, right? That which is in Birmingham. We are going to get questions from Julia Kristeva. So these are only important topic that they are going to ask, and that we will discuss in our class called criticism, literary criticism and theory unlocked. So be there. This class might happen at 4 o'clock. I'll make schedule and send it to your Google Classroom. So here we need to find which one. So if you remember one thing regarding every time they ask about Mikhail Bakhtin, is there is one important let me see, I just not able to get that word, and he asked about that. I mean, they in the exam they ask about from Rabelais and his world by Bakhtin. There is one key term that they always ask about it, and we might find it here. So D only written by D only. So morphology of the folk tale is only written by Mikhail Bakhtin. Is it? We'll just see. Written by Bakhtin. So if it is by Bakhtin, then why? Maybe are not written by, the question will be, because option is a little bit confusing here, because Rabelais and his word is Bakhtin, it is written there, and that term I was talking about. This term is very important. Carnivalesque. They ask these questions many times. They have already asked, and you might get it in next exam also. So this is, we'll just mark it certain that they are going to ask in the exam, in our upcoming exam. It's like 90% of chances that they will ask. Okay, so we'll just mark this question. This they are going to ask, Carnivalesque, and it was taken from in the book Rabelais and his word by Bakhtin. So here a list of work: Problem of Dostoevsky's Poetics, Rabelais and his world, Speech genre, The Dialogic Imagination. Another important term is by Bakhtin, they should remember. So we can just mark Carnivalesque, The Dialogic of Imagination, Rabelais and his work, and Problem of Dostoevsky's Poetics. And we have another, Toward a Philosophy of the Act. This is all the work. White Mythology is book by, so answer is D only. So only this work is written by Bakhtin. So that is our answer also. Okay, I was actually thinking about this as a D. So Rabelais and his world is by Bakhtin, and we know which is the term that I told you. Can you write in the comment box, Priya? So we'll discuss this in our group. Anyway, so this is the list of the work, and the other work which are not written by Bakhtin is White Mythologies by W.D. Clark, and this has also asked once in the exam about white mythology. The ideology, can you tell me who wrote White Noise? So there is actually a song related to White Noise also. So White Mythology is by W.D. Clark, and in that work, another work is Freudianism, a Marxist critic, is by Frederick Jameson. The Ideology of Aesthetic is by Terry Eagleton. So these are very important figure in literary theory and criticism. Morphology of Folk Tale is by Vladimir Prop, because he's a Russian and he wrote Morphology of Folk Tale. Exactly. Carnivalesque. So this is important topic that they are going to ask in the exam, and I'm sure about it. And every time they ask, that's why I'm saying. So anyway, question number 56 is in your screen. You have to match which one is the correct. First, we'll just how you should actually match the following. First, you should know who is familiar, a critic or literary theorist in your. We'll just know, okay, Jacques Derrida is written something related to writing and degree zero, writing and differences. Writing and Differences is written by Derrida, right? Harold Bloom is the correct. So this will be our not. Harold Bloom, of course, write the anxiety of influence, and that is also a term. When they ask, and in the shift one, they have asked about the anxiety of influence. Shift two, they also have asked about this. So the anxious author, Harold Bloom, this term, anxious author and the anxiety of influences by Harold Bloom. So that is correct. Uh, Again, Carl Jung didn't write this. Actually, it was Derrida. So this is incorrect. This is incorrect. We are left with John Cable on the healing power of poetry, and Kate Millett, Jake Lacan, and feminist introduction. Kate Millett, as we know, she's psychoanalytic, feministic part, because psychoanalysis is divided into three parts, right? Psychoanalysis began with Sigmund Freud, the subject, and this is like feminist psychoanalytic, Kate Millett. So, which is the correct? It is drop actually. Uh, this question is drop answer because none of them, it seems, only one is true. D, others are completely wrong. So that's why we have drop option, and this question you might have got the full marks for this question. So remember, always in shift second you get more drop questions. That I have realized it. Because while solving shift 1 seems, you know, made with very careful things and all. I think shift second is completely different. I don't know, I have no comment on it, but last previous 2022 2023, all of them in the shift second we get more drop questions. I'm just saying maybe it will be different in next exam. So question number 56, which of the following are correctly matched? We only know Harold Bloom, the anxiety of influence is the correct, and it is a drop question. So we have the list of the work that are mentioned, and we have the author. Jake Lacan, A Feminist Introduction, is a book by Elizabeth Grosz. The Anxiety of Influence, we know, is by Harold Bloom, where he coined the term anxiety of influence. Okay, and why? Because this is basically the work based on romanticism. So, like about the author. So we have he discusses. Sometime they have asked about. I mean, once I saw one question in anxiety of influence, who authors were mentioned. So that's why I have put that list of the poets. So William Shakespeare is a playwright, Samuel S.T. Coleridge, P.B. Shelley, and John Keats. So these important figures are mentioned in the anxiety of influence, and this anxiety of influence are mentioned in the work of Shakespeare, Coleridge, and Shelley. It can be found in their work according to Harold Bloom. So Writing and Differences is by Jake Derrida, as I told you. And why it is important? Because that's the work which actually established his fame. And again, of grammatology and speech and phenomena. This is also work by Jake Derrida. So these are the theorist and critic that we should always know every single work of them. So these are like certain questions that you will get, and that we are going to study in our criticism class. Again, we have Modern Man in Search of a Soul is by Carl Jung. And on the healing power and the poetry, we didn't get. It might be by where is it? So if you get this answer anywhere, who wrote this, we can discuss in the group. Anyway, question number 57 is in your screen, and tell me, guys delusion. They are very famous because in shift 1 they have asked about the based on this question, and also in based on these authors, this critic in shift 1 and also here in shift 2. So Gaius Deleuze and Felix Guattari, Anti-Oedipus, Capitalism and Schizophrenia fuses two theoretical paradigms. They are Marxism, post-structuralism and psychoanalysis. देखो, when they talk about Oedipus, remember who coined Oedipus complex? Sigmund Freud. So of course they are talking about psychoanalysis. Anti-Oedipus. So first thing is true. C, wherever is C is option. And then post-structuralism. So the answer says B, post-structuralism, and C, psychoanalysis. Got it? And we have the explanation. These two theorists called Deleuze and Guattari wrote Anti-Oedipus, and they ask about from that also. They have already asked in the two shift, first and second. Maybe they can ask in the next exam as well. If not that, there might be some option based on that. So these authors analyze the relationship between desire, power and politics. So when it comes, desire can come in psychoanalysis, power and politics comes in Marxism and post-structuralism. The critique of both capitalist society and Freudian psychoanalysis. So it is the perfect combination of psychoanalysis and Marxism, how they affect people and our society. So they argue that both are based on repressive social structure that inhibit human creativity and freedom. So this concept is very important. Schizoanalysis. So they are doing that in the work called Anti-Oedipus, Capitalism and Schizophrenia. So remember this. Question number 58 is here. Which of the following books are written by Dipesh Chakravarti? I think you can see the answer already. Anyway, when it comes to Dipesh Chakravarti, we should remember that first is Provincializing Europe, Post-Colonial Thought and Historical Difference. So make sure this post-modernist, post-colonialism, his work is mostly based on post-colonial. So Dipesh Chakravarti is the modern post-colonial theorist. So his works are important, and this is also you're going to get in the next exam, and I'm sure for that. So Dipesh Chakravarti, Provincializing Europe is the correct one, and the other is the climate history in a planetary age. So these two works are written by Dipesh Chakravarti. The subaltern, we also know, is one of the important and term. I know everybody knows about subaltern. Subaltern is a marginalized society. So remember, there are three kind of major field in culture study. First comes the popular culture, second comes the high culture, and the third is the subaltern. Got it? Popular culture is the mass culture of everybody, like television, radio and other shows and all. And high culture is for elite society, be like, you know, like art society, literary society, and the different high class society has, they called high culture. And subaltern is the marginalized, who may be related to a race, or maybe related to like oppressed society, like Dalit and all. They all come to subaltern. And we have other works. So A and D is the only work that written by Dipesh Chakravarti from the list given here. And we have some little bit discussion on Dipesh Chakravarti's work, which is Provincializing Europe, Post-Colonial Thought and Historical Difference. Is a book by Chakravarti, and remember what he challenges. It challenges the Eurocentric understanding of history and social theory by examining the limitation of the Western epistemological framework. It argues that the historical experience of non-Western society and their contribution to knowledge production have been neglected by Western scholars, and proposes a post-colonial perspective that acknowledges the diversity of human experiences and perspective. The Climate of History is also by Dipesh Chakravarti. Subaltern is by, it is actually a collection of essays written by Ranjit Guha. That is one of the not important, actually you can say it's certain that they are going to ask from Guha. So, is the collection of essays edited by Ranjit Guha and Gayatri Spivak. They might ask about the Subaltern, and remember these two names. Gayatri Chakravarti Spivak, we know, it's like must know theorist, and her work you will find there are so many works, then also term by Gayatri Chakravarti Spivak, and we'll discuss it. And Ranjit Guha and Gayatri Chakravarti Spivak are very important theorists in the perspective of subaltern studies. So these two theorists have significant work on the subaltern, and they have also collection of essays that is called the Subaltern Studies Reader, and it was published in 1986. Okay, and we have another, Identity and Violence, the Illusion of Destiny. Is a work by Amartya Sen. That is new to us, and if they have asked about it, maybe they'll keep this trend. So remember that Identity and Violence, the Illusion of Destiny is by Amartya Sen. So remember why this book is very important, because it has so much. In one book is like one big course, and certainly you are going to get 30 to 40 questions from one book itself. So we have 4 collection of the book, and it should have, I mean, it's like must book to have every single net aspirant, and that is made in like 2 years of hard work. So 2 years of full research is there. And what this is special about this book is that it has highlighted every important concept, and everything is highlighted in the book, and it is completely solved. In particular option you'll get so many explanation, and that will play a crucial role in qualifying the exam. So it's a must book. If not now, you can order later, but it should have, I mean, everybody should have these collections. If you want to know more about it, of course this is all we are going to discuss everything, and it will be there in the video. But if you really want a collection, because in revision you will need these book, so that's why I keep asking, because in our group most of the people, like all of them must have like recently joined, like 3-4 people are not having these books, but others I have already sent them. And if you're not, you just place an order now, so I will be able to send it immediately. So anyway, if you want an ebook, that is also there. You don't have to wait for so long. Immediately you can get all these 4 volumes in your phone itself in ebook format, so that you can order. Anyway, so we have already discussed everything here. one work is there. In other works, Essay in Cultural Politics. It is a book by Gayatri Chakravarti Spivak. And in that, she discusses about feminism, Marxism, literary theory. Some other essays are also there that you can. So question number 59 is here. Which of the two books have their root in Foucauldian thoughts on sexuality? Another important theorist is Michel Foucault. And Foucault, every work you should remember, and also you should remember in chronological order. Got it? And here it is asking Foucauldian thoughts, epistemology of closet. It is very important, and you should remember this work is written by I'll just check. It is called Eve. Very important work, Sedgwick. So, Epistemology of Closet is by Eve Sedgwick, and it is published in 1990. So, in our criticism, this work is explained in very detailed manner, and this you are going to, there are chances that they'll ask from that. Epistemology of closet, the role of the reader, gender trouble, feminism and the subversion. Gender trouble is by Judith Butler, right? That is also important, and that they will ask. So these all work that we have in one book, we have based on all criticism literary. I think you must have heard about it. It is our bestseller, and can you believe it, we sold that book like 800 copy immediately, that criticism, and it is out of print already because we had only 1000, we printed only 1000 copy. Some of them are left with me, and if you want it, you can get it. It's a beautiful book. It has everything related to literary criticism, literary theory, cultural studies, and everything. And that's a big book, like 400 pages book, and that's all you need to get at least 40 questions from the exam. So if you're interested, I'll just send you the link in the group that you can also see. Anyway, question number 59, what it was saying, Foucauldian thoughts. And Foucauldian thought means what? Gender trouble, feminism and the subversion of identity, epistemology of closet, and Judith Butler. These are all have their roots in Michel Foucault theories on sexuality. So these all are based on feminism, right? The epistemology of closet, sexual politics, and the subversion of identity. Meta history is completely different, so this we can eliminate easily. And sexual politics is by Judith Butler, who is French. So we have two works, both gender trouble, first, feminism and subversion of identity, Judith Butler, B, and D. We have epistemology of closet. These two options are the correct one. And why? We have very close explanation for it that you will not find anywhere. So Butler's gender trouble builds on this Foucauldian framework, arguing that gender is not fixed biological category but is instead a performance that is produced through repeated social practice. So according to Butler, it is not biological category but it is based on performance, which is practiced in society. And she has She critiqued the notion that there is stable and essential feminine masculine identity and instead proposes the idea of gender performativity and suggesting that gender is something that is continually created and recreated through the performance. So when they ask about gender and trouble, remember that performance. This word is very important in this. So anyway, again, epistemology of clauses, Butler. So here it's not Butler but Sedgwick. So this we have to edit. This is not applies Fogger's idea to study the sexuality, arguing that the regulation of sexual behavior and identity operates through production of knowledge and construction of social norms. Meta history is by Hayden White, and this they have asked in 2021 about meta history, and it was Hayden White that was actually matched the following. So the role of the reader is by Umberto Eco, and this work explored the role of the reader interpreting text, arguing that the readers actively create meaning through their interaction with the text. Sexual Politics is by Kate Millett, another important work, and it also it talks about the relationship between power, gender, and sexuality. So the book argues that patriarchal power structure are deeply embedded in our society and that they shape our understanding of gender and sexuality. Although, like I said, all these works are share an interest in relationship between language and power, and all three draws on literary and cultural theory. Only Gender Trouble, Feminism, and Subversion of Identity, Exploratory draws on Foucauldian thought. So that's why these two options are correct. See how much is there in one question itself. And what people do is they could do, okay sir, I have solved previous year question and I got that much mark and it was good, but they only know the option and the questions, right? But do they know about details about each single option, why they have mentioned this in the option? It's not like randomly they have took. It's well engineered question paper. That's why one question paper has everything, and that's why Meera, Karthik, and John passed the exam after doing PYQs. So every day we are going to have question. We have stories every day we are going to have, and the two story, if you have missed, you just watch two previous classes and you will know. Got it? Question number 60. Which of the following are written by George Peele? And that they have asked in shift 1 as well. And we have already crossed 1 hour, right? And we will have 10 more questions right now, because I have to prepare for the paper 1, and also we are going to have criticism and literary theory unlocked. That is very important because I want you to have at least 80 question right in your exam, and I tell you, you will get it. It's not too much. And if you get 80 in paper 1, why I'm doing that? Because I want you to have 35 plus questions, if not 40, at least 37 to 38 questions you should get correct. And by doing that, by doing these questions and whatever the class will take, you will get it. Okay, so now let's move to the question. George Peele. Which of the following are written by George Peele? Tell me. A Moon for the Misgotten is by Peele, I think. No, it is by Eugene O'Neill. That's why I was a little bit confused, because we have discussed this in shift 1. So Peele's work are here, list of the A, C, and E. A. The famous Chronicle of King Edward the First, and C. Arraignment of Paris, and E. The Old Wives' Tale that everybody is familiar with. So remember, we get 3 to 4 questions from whose contemporary? Shakespeare contemporaries. So they ask so many questions based on that also. They don't ask from Shakespeare, but they ask from their contemporary. So that's why that small portion there between the contemporary, they ask question. So we should know there, like George Peele is there. There are others like one work, Why Shirley is there. So these work like Country Wife. In the first shift they asked about Country Wife. So this way we have to remember all these author, and we have the list of the work that is written by George Peele. You should also know about it. Not too many work, but the important works are already mentioned here. The Old Wives' Tale they will ask, and they will make confused because there is one work of Shakespeare which was based on, I think, the Old Wives' Tale. Anyway, A Moon for the Misgotten is by Eugene O'Neill. Question number 61. Which of the following are true in the context of Gabriel Garcia Marquez? You have to tell which statements are true. So, 100 Years of Solitude. Love in the Time of Cholera is a memoir written by Marquez. He received the Nobel Prize in 1982. He was Caribbean novelist, short story. He was not Caribbean, was it? He was a Latin, right? So A should not be there. Exactly. So he was what? Not Caribbean, but Latin. He was known for Gobo and Gobito throughout Latin America. Again, here is the answer. Latin America. That is our correct. He received a Nobel Prize in Literature in 1982. Remember, this date is quite important. And Love in the Time of Cholera is memoir written by. It is not memoir. And Love in a Time of, who wrote? Is it Marquez or Thomas Mann? Let me check. It is by Gabriel Garcia Marquez, but it is not a memoir. It is a novel. Anyway, again his novel 100 Years of Solitude, published in 1967. That is quite important date also, year of 100 Years of Solitude. And to your surprise, this is Salman Rushdie's favorite work. In his interview, they have asked like, which is your favorite novel and the author, and he said 100 Years of Solitude, and he made joke about it as well, because in that interview he said 100 Years of Solitude is literally 100 years of reading, something like that. So according to him, it was quite boring but very good one. I mean, he said as a joke that it's boring, but that is his favorite work. So anyway, the options are here. Explanation. The statement is correct that it is actually Colombian, Latin America, and he was referred as Gobo in Latin America, and he won Nobel Prize in 1982, and the 100 Years of Solitude was published in 1967. And Love in the Time of Cholera is not a memoir but a novel, and it has very famous character name Florentino and Ariza Farmina. Okay, this is question number 62. Which of the following are the novels written by John Steinbeck? So The Grapes of Wrath is by John Steinbeck, and of course we know To Kill a Mockingbird is by uh, what is the name? Very important. Anyone know? Can you tell me? It's very important work. To Kill a Mockingbird, and they are start before they were not asking about it, but now they have started asking about To Kill a Mockingbird. In the past, like 3-4 years, they are asking about it because it's American, no, like novel for the mass people. So To Kill a Mockingbird is by Harper Lee. Harper Lee is a woman, not a man. Got it? And it is published in 1960s. And we have some series in Netflix also. The Grapes, The Naked and the Dead is not by John Steinbeck, but it is by Norman Mailer, and it is published in 1948. John Steinbeck wrote Mice and Man. Everybody know there is character who's Milton and another character Leany, something like that. And The Grapes of Wrath, we have very important character about Jode family. Actually, they are moving from the small town to big to migrate in California because of the dust ball. So remember this: The Grape of Wrath is by John Steinbeck, about a family, Jode family, who are forced to leave Oklahoma City to California. These are important important places in the work The Grapes of Wrath. East of Eden is also by uh, John Steinbeck, Canary Raw, and there are few other works. The Naked and the Dead is by Norman Mailer, and it is experience about platoon during the World War II. To Kill a Mockingbird is a novel by Harper Lee, published in 1960. Question number 63. Which of the following are the leading characters in the novel written by Mulk Raj Anand? Now you have to tell which are the character. Baha, we know one character is very important from the lower. The theme of Mulk Raj Anand is he always write about low, like marginalized people, like very low class people and their life, and that is very important. So A, Munnu, B, Baha, and D, Gangu. These three that he has. Munnu is the main character in Coolie. Remember that. Baha is untouchable, and Gangu, they are very important characters in Anand's novel The Village. Another Sampath is from The Bachelor of Arts by R.K. Narayan, and Draupadi is a character from The Chorus of Innocent by Mahashweta Devi. So remember these. See, in one question there are so many things. If we know, okay, Munnu Baha and Mungu Baha and Gangu is from Anand, but who are Sampath and Draupadi is from where? So Sampath is from The Bachelor of Art, and Draupadi is from where? The Chorus of Innocent by Mahashweta Devi. Now we have started match the following. Correct pairs. Not yet, because I was thinking about match the following. It will start from, I think, 65 to 66. From 66, I guess. Yeah. So we'll try to complete 2 more, and in our next class we'll start from 66. Okay. So 2 more questions, and we have already, I think, crossed 1 hour 10 minutes, right? So question number 64. Identify the correct pairs. Ian McQueen, we know, he wrote Amsterdam. Italo Calvino is also If on a Winter Night a Traveler, that is correct. Amitabh Ghosh, The Circle of Reason, and D.M. Thomas Eversole, Doris Lessing, The Testament. Seems like all the correct anyway. A is correct, Amsterdam. B is also correct, that If on a Winter. Amitabh Ghosh is also correct, The Circle of Reason. The first three was correct. And Amsterdam is Ian McQueen's novel, and it explore the moral dilemma of two lifelong friends and their involvement in a politician scandalous death. It's a very good work. I really like the summary actually, but if we read a book, it will be, I think, it must be exciting. Anyway, Italo Calvino's If on a Winter Night a Traveler is a postmodern novel that follows the reader's quest to find the ending of the novel. So that is quite, exciting. It is actually follows the reader's quest to find the ending of the novel. That is really good. Anyway, Amitabh Ghosh, The Circle of Reason is a novel that tells the story of a young man named Allu, who is accused of. They have asked this about this character. I think it was in 2016 or 70. They asked about Amitabh Ghosh, The Circle of Reason protagonist, and it was Allu. So there was option like Allu, Anu, Arjun, these kind of, and the answer was Allu. So that in that way, it's very important. The Testament is by Margaret Atwood, not by Doris Lessing. Doris Lessing is one of the important in writer in African, right? Who wrote the Golden Notebook or something. The Golden Notebook, Doris Lessing. So choose the correct. Again, we are asking here another question, last one. Identify the correct pair. Aristotle Rhetoric, Quintilian Oratorio Institution, or C. Brew Penarpia Understanding Fiction, Ellen Tate, The Verbal Icon, or Harold Bloom, The Great Tradition. The Great Tradition is by F.R. Lewis, so certainly it's not. Aristotle Rhetoric is correct because he talked about, remember, and in shift 1 they asked about Aristotle Rhetoric. Second option was Plato Symposium something. So that's what happened. If you really analyze all these questions in detail, you will never forget. So imagine remembering 2000 question in your mind. Where will they ask from? You will have the answer for every single question they throw at you. Got it? So Quintilian Oratorio Institution, Seabrook and R.P. Barron, that is actually correct. Understanding Fiction. The Verbal Icon, Alan Tate. We will have the answer A, B again. First three is the correct one. Harold Bloom, certainly it was not. So these two options were automatically eliminated, and we were left with D, Ellen Tate, The Verbal Icon. We'll know Verbal Icon is by Stanley Fish or something. Anyway, we'll see. The Verbal Icon is a book by William K. Wimsett and Monroe C. Bed. It's very important work. In the shift 1, they asked these authors together in one option, and there they have asked about something different one, but option were there. William K. Wimsett and Monroe C. Beardsley. The Verbal Icon. The Great Tradition, as I told you, F.R. Lewis, and the rest is by were the correct. Aristotle Rhetoric is a treatise on art of persuasion and public speaking. And Quintilian's A rhetorical institution is a comprehensive guide to the education and training of orator in ancient Rome. Brooks and R.P. Warren, as I told you, it's correct. Understanding fiction, and they have asked this in Shift 1 as well. Is a seminal work in the field of literary criticism that offers a close reading of elements of fiction, including plot and point of character. 66, we could complete 4, but before that I will give you a mock test for all these, and then we'll solve this together. So we'll start, we'll continue tomorrow, and we'll try to cover 34 question, and I promise we'll finish it. So anyway, you wanna solve this or you wanna do it tomorrow? Tell me, do you want it now or tomorrow? I think tomorrow will do. Anyway, 1 hour is over because we have to focus on the other topics. And I promise you will be able to finish 2000 question before your exam. And we should also try to aim at least 35 question plus from paper 1 as well. That's why we are going to start paper 1 today itself and just be there. Okay? Okay then, have a great day, and tell me how was the class in the group, if you liked it. And there was one conversation, right, about that we are going to do the discussion in the group, and it was about what kind of method you choose for the preparation before that PYQ. So I think that was the discussion that we are going to do in the group. So for now, goodbye, have a great day ahead, and I'll see you tomorrow for the PYQ. But for the paper 1, there'll be next class, which will be around 2 o'clock. Anyway, you'll get the notification in your WhatsApp group. But anyway, whoever is not in Google Classroom, I'm gonna send you the link in their email, and there just keep, of course Priya is not there in the Google Classroom, so Priya, just check your email now. I will send it in 2 minutes, and join the Google Classroom as well. Okay, thank you, bye bye.